צילי, שלום.
Hi, Tzip.
היי.
Hi, Ronnie Kay,
וואו.
Professor.
מדברים בעברית?
No, we're talking English.
Oh my God, fuck.
God, fuck.
Sorry, I love the English language.
אני אהבתי מאוד את זה, אבל אולי כדאי
I
להתחיל.
love the English language,
The English
especially that I
language.
sound like a Southern girl, like
We're
Vivian,
talking-
yeah, like Scarlett O'Hara.
We're welcoming Professor Ronnie Kay from
Yeah.
NYU
NYU.
University, a
Yeah.
colleague of Tzipi.
Yeah,
Ronnie,
Department of Film and
Film
Television,
and Television, Director of
one of
Film
the
and
best in the
Television,
world.
and just started the documentary sport department.
First time.
So we're going to talk about football. I cannot believe I'm going to talk,
We're talking about football.
which I don't care for at all.
And I don't know if do you think she looks like Taylor Swift? It became
If
part
it
of the
would give me the
conversation.
rating they got, I'm willing to look like Taylor Swift.
But
so.
in spite of the fact that I don't care for this game, sorry everybody.
Why? It's just
I don't
pushing
care.
each other. They take one step and then they push, and then they
So-
fall down, and then they get up, and then they go, and then they go.
But I
another.
do understand the
Beautiful explanation of the game.
the impact of the game on the American society. I don't know about the rest of the world, and I know how crazy everybody. I remember years ago, like 30 years ago, I went to the military school. What's the name of the military school?
Oh yeah, at West Point.
West Point.
I'm so good.
You are.
We went to Leon was invited to West Point to a special game, and I had no clue. The whole thing around it was amazing, like the American people know how to do.
Right.
It's like when you go to the Madison Square Garden, it's the whole show.
Right.
It was like
And the hot dog.
it was unbelievable. It was
Right.
unbelievable. And everybody was screaming. I saw tons of big guys hitting each
Yeah,
other,
that's it.
running from side to side, throwing the ball, and everybody, wow! It was crazy. But
And then you see
I do think that what you do with your student now is wonderful because of the outcome of it. So tell us a little about it, because it's really first.
Let me rewind a little bit. First of all, it's a sports documentary program. So it's not just about football. It's about all different kind of sports, basically all the sports, but it depends on whichever kind of subject every student wants to choose, of course. Sports documentary in general is very exciting, it's very exhilarating. I would even argue that the one reason for live TV these days would be only sports. Even news you'd get from headlines on your phone. But literally the only reason to sit as a crowd around the TV platform would be live sports and all the excitement that comes into it. It's not something that you can see a few hours later. It's
And
really
all the money that comes with it.
and all the money that comes with it. And to top all of that, it's entertainment. It's pure entertainment. And I think the big change maybe that we've seen coming out this year, and this is why you may say by chance, you may say by luck, and you may say by the hard work, the sports documentary program that I'm initiating right now at NYU is very much in correlation with the industry. What happened in the last year in the industry, it was the first time ever the NFL had actually made collaborations with Netflix, with Skydance, in order for them to make between 20 and 30 documentaries a year for this platform. So you see the industry is changing in a way where they're realizing that they have content. The leagues are realizing that they have content and great content. And instead of them waiting for, individual entities to come every once in a while and offer, let me maybe do a documentary about Mahoon, or maybe let me do a documentary about, I don't know, Kelvis or anyone. They are actually controlling the content. They make the collaborations with all these entities. You do get very inspiring films about, inspiring athletes, which is
Do they demand which kind of documentaries to do, or you
No, they
can
give them access. They give them access, but everybody benefits. And why is that? First of all, it's the platform Obviously, Netflix would benefit from giving you the content because you would want to see the content. Obviously, the league would benefit from the content because it portrays their athletes as heroes or as inspiring people. The filmmakers value from that. And more than anything, you get a lot of more viewers. This was the most viewed NFL ever, especially among women, which never happened before because it's known, first of all, because of Taylor Swift. Let's put it as it is. Let's not shy around the subject. Taylor Swift did bring a lot of women to watch the game, people that never were interested before. Also, it's upon research, we discovered that women love the stories behind the scene, the struggle, the romance, the overcoming the
But
obstacles.
over the years, it's growing because every time you can see the romantic connection between football players and celebrities, women, and
Exactly.
with every story, it elevates the interest and it elevates the outcome and it elevates and the fact that they put it in Vegas, it elevates tourism to every city. So it's like endless.
Tourism and entertainment. So I just had an interview on the CBS radio a couple of days ago, and the most important thing that we talked about is the fact that it's all entertainment. I mean, let's put it at face value. Even the fact that it was in Vegas and the whole show, and everybody's waiting for the halftime show. I saw a news segment the day after, a whole show that was just dedicated to the commercials in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And to top
The best
that,
commercials all year
Yeah, but this
are
is
in.
for
that's
years.
Yeah.
very true. The
That was
best,
always.
the most starstruck, the most creative, the most budgeted commercials, of course.
You know,
And
all these events are larger than all the reality shows.
let me give
Without
you one little fact that we can take it from there. In the past decade, the landing on the moon had 125 million viewers all over the world.
and
This
now,
is the closest that we got to it with 123.5 in this Super Bowl. The closest ever since 1969. I'm just saying.
so Taylor Swift has to stay with him, otherwise it's gone.
No, now she's
So
going to
that-
help Biden. But you know, Ronnie, I want to tell you something. So I guess in your class, I guess that you will also look at the students diving into other aspects
Very much so.
of each
Absolutely.
sport, including, by the way, the damaging, like, I say it's concussions?
Concussions.
Concussion,
Yes.
Other kind of, knees, other kind of, but more than that, the game has behind it really deep rationale. I mean, they really plan, the move. It's not just running around and pushing what we see. There is kind of in every game, basketball,
In every sport.
in every sport, there is a lot of analyzing, tactics,
Very true.
so
It's a very professional business, and you have
so
to
the
take it very seriously.
documentary, I guess, I guess that we will get a lot of documentaries that really will dive much more into the real issues that has to do with sport.
So Tzipi, as a documentary filmmaker yourself, you probably understand, and this is what I'm going for, is the first thing I teach my students. Really, it's not about the game, a sports documentary. It's about the people, it's about the struggle, it's about the conflict. There's such big drama. There's always a winner and a loser. There's always such high emotions. Most sports documentaries would be inspiring because the struggle and the need to be the first in your field is always inspiring and touching, overcoming all the obstacles. Of course, there will be a lot of documentaries that will unveil some mishaps in this industry or in this realm, like in every other industry. I have a student who used to be an ice skater. He's only 21, but he's an ice skater since he's like 6 years old. And the first thing, the first documentary that he's going to make, he's an amazing filmmaker. He became a filmmaker after he stopped with his ice skating career, which was like 1 or 2 years ago. Pretty amazing with the athletes at what a young age their careers has to, either flourish or actually get stopped. And he's going to do a documentary about a coach that was also his coach, that is still a coach, that is known to harass the people that he's coaching. And they didn't let him go just because he had a couple of Olympic winners under his belt. So obviously there are politics and there's
ethics. There is
and ethics and so many things that are going on in this industry, as well as in every other place that we know. It's been quieted more than we wished for up until now because, winning is all. But it's not like that anymore. And we saw in our industry, in the film and TV industry, what happened in Me Too. And I think the sports industry is next to come.
right.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, and I have a student who was an Olympic player. I think she's a swimmer. And then she had an accident. And now she's on wheelchair. She's in my class and she's doing a documentary about her journey. And she's going to finish it, I think the next Olympics or whatever is in Paris.
Yes, it is.
So she hopes to go now and be a champion in the, how you call it, the swim. No,
And
people who are like she cannot really be a swimmer.
Yeah.
She was, but now she can be a swimmer as a wounded woman, right? There is a name for it.
the handicapped Olympics.
The handicaps,
yeah,
right,
I
right.
read it.
And it's
Okay.
amazing how she switched. And, it's not simple. And now her dreams were not shattered. She just replaced them. So she's doing a
This is where
documentary.
you touch the essence of everything. For me, sports documentaries or sports in general, specifically, with professional athletes, it's about a dream. You dedicate your life for this dream that you have, which is a lot like my film students. Each and every one of us has a dream. We dedicate our lives to it. It is so competitive, and you have to put your entire life into it in order to succeed.
But not only about the players themselves, it's about the audience, it's about
I
everybody
agree
who
so much.
plays part,
Coaches,
everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
even the families around them.
Right.
If you go and if you make a documentary about an athlete's life, everybody around him has to be invested. Otherwise, it will
Right.
never work.
Yeah. So when you talk to them, like when you do a documentary, and as far as I'm concerned, anything in art can be a novel, can be a film, can be a poem, even. You start with a question that intrigues you, right?
True.
Do you ask them before, when you first meet them, what their intent, what questions they're asking, what they're trying to explore in the
Of course.
story they chose?
Of course, I'll even add to that every class that I have, not only the sports documentary, I keep reminding them not to fall and right into the everyday life of school, just trying to make the exam right or just trying to make another project, but to remember that they had a dream coming into the school and they had something to say. And this is why they're here. What is it that you want to say? What is your point of view in the world? Nobody becomes a filmmaker because they think it's glamorous. Definitely not in NYU. It takes too much time, too much effort, too much money to get in there, and a lot of work to succeed in each and every class, not to mention afterwards in the industry. So I think that if you have something to say, if you come with something which is unique, which is yours, which is burning within you to come out to the world, that's the way to go about a film. So, like, for example,
But are you going to cover sport projects with your students in a different way, or just to let them come up with the ideas, documentary ideas? Because there's so many projects coming, and
right. You're very right. So how do you actually give them access, and how do they start expressing themselves in the realm? So what I did to begin with, I made a first ever collaboration with NYU's athletic department, which, first of all, I think that school sports are amazing. And in every other school, I mean, even in USC where I went to, excuse me, NYU, sports was the biggest, the most social, the most gathering thing, the happiest party everybody could go to. It's so much fun to root for ourselves, for our school. It makes everybody a community. At NYU, it didn't become that. Sports in NYU is hardly known.
It's the
to
less than most universities, but it's because it's not a campus.
That's right. It's in the middle of the
maybe
city.
I
also,
think
but
this is the reason.
but what else would you think? I would expect NYU being in New York, at least the basketball should have been like something we would be all
Too
over.
much money to get a place. Although they have for years, they had the basketball court.
But they're
Well,
not, let's say it's not the strongest
Right,
point of NYU.
right,
It's
right.
okay.
it's not the
Right.
strongest point of
But other
NYU.
universities like University of Michigan and stuff where I went to, it was like the
Everyone.
most
That
important
was-
thing in the
Yeah,
student's life.
yeah.
Of course, it was the most important thing for a good reason. It makes you such a community. It makes everybody together. And that's something I feel we're missing at NYU. So I made a collaboration with the athletic department and also with the sports management department and also with the production lab, which are making a sports festival film as sports festival films.
Festival.
And
Film festival.
yeah, that. And the best thing about it is that I can actually connect filmmakers and athletes from NYU, which are the same age, striving for success, working their butts off, excuse my language, in order to get there. So I feel like it's a great collaboration. And then when you open to them, and it's funny because last week we had the first tour at the athletic department. I don't think most professors have been there or any student have been there. You should see this place. I mean, I have basketball courts and I have bridges above that you can film and watch from above, like crazy, beautiful things. Everybody is really excited. It benefits everybody because you can put the NYU athletes on the map for everybody to know them now. And we have the privilege of actually practicing with real athletes at real NYU venues. And in my vision, next thing we're going to do is the Olympics. And the next thing we're going to do is the World Cup, because who's better than to actually work on the World Cup than the best students from the best film and TV school in the United States, especially because the World Cup soccer is very unknown to Americans. So for the young generation, my students, our students, to sort of show it to them in their way through the social platform and social media and all that would be, I think, beneficial for everybody.
How many pioneers you have in your group now?
Well,
12?
So tell me something. How do you, so we know that you can cross the line very easily from being a documentary to propaganda
very true.
to other. So there is so much room for manipulation from what do you choose to shoot, right? And then, of course, in the editing room, how is a juxtaposition between two shots? You can do so many different, the meaning that comes out from this juxtaposition. To what extent this line is also relevant to sport documentaries?
First of all, same. Documentary is a documentary. But it's funny because we were just talking about the fact that is a documentary totally impartial? Is it neutral? Could it be not directed? You know, just like a general question. I don't believe so. I believe that even if I shoot something, the way my point of view, the way my camera is pointed is already telling you something. So I don't believe there's something which is totally carte blanche. Okay. There is an issue though. And this is something I started diving into with my students, such as I started telling you. Once Netflix has made a collaboration with Skydance for 20 to 30 projects a year, what if me as a filmmaker that comes from Skydance looks at Trevor Kelsey and says, well, I found this and this not to be a great thing and I want to dive into it? What if I want to make a piece about something that maybe does not benefit the NFL or the actual star? That's a big question.
Right.
Same
That's why I
here.
was asked, that's why I asked you if they allow you to do whatever you think or they direct you, because they might say, you know, it doesn't work
Exactly.
for us. We want only certain point of view.
I think that will be the biggest question moving forward. I don't
Because
think
the
they
big
dealt with
companies,
that
they
yet.
manipulate everybody. So
Exactly.
they take
It can't be,
control.
if I know that you're making a promotion for your league, that's not a documentary. Why would I even care to watch it?
That's for me
I mean,
propaganda.
but
Everything
yes,
is one-sided. Everything that doesn't dive into the complexity of the person or his dreams or the
You're
company.
not wrong. I
but I
think that's
think
going
It's
to
not
be
a
their
documentary.
but
power.
it's important that the students will find out and will learn that this part is there too, and maybe they will be able to do it on their own later on in life, so they can go, you know, versus the other.
So this one student who wants to do about the coach is not from NYU. He teaches in another university. I gave him a carte blanche, but tomorrow, if somebody comes and wants to do it on an NYU coach, when I made a collaboration with the athletic department, yes, I will have a problem. No, I'm not sure how I'm going to solve it. What happens in the NFL? They pay for the content. If I'm as a director comes in and I want to show you something that was truly wrong in the last game, are you going to give me access to it? That's the next question everybody's going to have to deal with. So
Well,
it's beautiful that everybody's going towards this hype and let's see inspiration and
But they are
heroes.
students,
That's
but they are
amazing.
still students, Ronnie. They are students. So the
True.
question, since they are students and they are NYU students or any university, you know, so what do you expect them when they come from your class, how they're going to deal with the issue?
But the trick is to really work, I mean, to work with them through a way that they'll be able to express their point of view and attitude in a way that won't be blocked by or
No,
won't
and then
stir
it's
and
manipulation.
won't.
Then
No,
it's
no, 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 no,
manipulation. It's
no,
a
no.
problem.
It's not a manipulation.
No, it's a
Despite
different
of,
level of ecstasy. This is what Billy is trying
despite
to
of,
say.
that's right.
There's a
I
different
don't want to manipulate. I want to be
help.
able to
Yeah.
tell their point of view.
If you tell
inside of-
the story about this coach, how can you go around what he did?
Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, what I'm trying to teach them, and that's probably the first and foremost important thing about documentaries, in my opinion, or sports, or the class that I'm trying to do, very different coming from a journalist's point of view and coming from a filmmaker's point of view. These are two different paths you take. I appreciate if you want to come as a journalist filmmaker, that's fine. This is not where I'm coming from at the moment. So even telling stories about things like that coach should be told from a storyteller point of view. Okay, I'm not saying you need to
Yeah, of
prove
course.
facts. Everything has to
Everything
be
is a
right.
storytelling, of course.
Everything is storytelling, but which head are you putting on right now? The journalist or the filmmaker? That said, as a filmmaker, yes, there are going to be places where it's going to be the hard truth, where it's going to be revealing things like the coach that is still working with students, even though he was accused of harassing young teenagers before. So hopefully, this documentary is going to be so good, so strong, so impactful, it will make a change. If you're taking a chance of going as far as you
The
go with,
question if they will go around being picked up, let's say, with Netflix.
okay, so what I'm the way I see it, like my point of view of the world, let's say, or the world of filmmaking and documentary filmmaking. Make the best film that you can make a life-changing film, make an impact with your film, choose the right way to do it. If you are going to out someone, it better be the best, most truthful,
Right.
fact-supported
Right.
documentary in the world. You can't
Right.
just throw something out there as a little
Of course.
clip.
And
you
everything
know.
is based on research and the truth, or whatever.
Exactly. And with testimonials from people that been
Yeah,
through that.
right.
So either you do something all the way and you're very strong and truthful about what you're saying, or you choose a different path. So I
Right.
will support you if you want to, change the world. I will always support you, but
Right.
do it the right way.
Right.
And
So let
also,
me
like
first,
Billy just said a few minutes ago, there's also the right way of giving it to the audience in the way that they can hear it and
Right.
in the way that everybody in the film can
Right.
stomach it, you know?
So listen, first of all, first and foremost, I want to tell you that people in the department absolutely adore you for
Oh my
initiating.
God, it was
It's
so
really
worth
great.
it.
It's very
Everything.
important for the department. And then I would like to ask you a question. What the relationship between a nice lady, smart and everything, but, who did in Israel a lot of documentaries ranging for political campaign, to about politician like if people know Tzipi Livni, who was really very involved in the Likud, and then she left the Likud. A lot of dramas. So you did about the documentaries, you did about the directing dramas on television. What's the relationship to you and sport?
I started with sports.
Because last I asked you, the only sport I think you do really is bicycling in your living room.
Well,
So
first of all, this
Mhm.
is just because the
Crazy about
past 2 months
sports, first
have
of all.
been so hard. But I dance, I do sports, I do Pilates, I run, I play tennis, I do
are you
everything
trying to provoke me?
a little bit,
Oh my God.
a little bit.
So what's your relationship to sport?
The
Except
truth
you're
is,
married
I
to really
started with sports when
got
I
married. Got married to a sport.
no, before, but
Oh,
before
you
even
started
that,
before
I
him?
started with
Okay.
a sports channel. Actually, I was when I started studying at UC Film School during the summers. We have summer vacations. I came to Israel and I worked for the sports channel, and then I did like my first little film in the sports channel with about two friends. That one of them was sent to play in Hulon, and they were two best friends in Jerusalem before. And I figured I'm not just going to interview them. I'm going to have one of them trying to hitchhike back to Jerusalem. The other one is making him a dinner. And this one is not getting rides because he left Jerusalem. Nobody wants to stop for him. The other one is getting really upset because he's not coming. And I made a whole little film instead of just a couple of interviews. And everybody said, oh my God, it changed the sports film language in Israel. So this is where I started. And they sent me, after I've worked there for a couple of years during vacations, to make a sports documentary film about Ron Sheffer in Connecticut. And this is how we got married. We had a daughter, we got divorced, and I'm still in sports. To cut a long story short. And after
Very
that, I
short.
also worked with the
Like,
NBC Entertainment.
it's like how you make babies. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
That's
I worked
great.
afterwards at NB Entertainment. I did sports documentaries for NBC. So that is where I started. That's my real passion, really.
Wow. So now we got the answer. What she and sport. Very nice. But Ronnie, I want to tell you something. Uh, I think the documentaries are really important, way of expressing oneself. And when I look at the documentaries that students do, I'm really always amazed that they choose really serious subject matter, believing they can change people's attitude.
True.
They really come with with a thought of what you just told us. If you do a good film, good story, strong characters,
But this is about every good film.
right,
This is
right.
about every good film. But Ronnie, what is your next project with the students?
The next thing they're gonna do it's actually gonna be a really exciting week this week. They're gonna have their final pitches and actually go ahead and start filming the documentaries. I was really surprised because there's so many great things going on with the athletes. And as Tzipi just said, they really chose the stories which are more socially impactful, that are more saying something, bringing something, changing something. Like one of the girls that really surprised me, and one of the women students actually found a bunch of kids that what they do is they skateboard in abandoned subway tunnels. And they became so good, it's going to be the first time they're going to be in the Olympics this year.
Wow.
So I mean, yeah, stuff like that. And they're really going outside of NYU. On one of the guys, for example, again, a former student, which I love, he was all, I'm gonna make a film about how come the women's basketball team is going to be first in the region? We're probably going to take the championship this year.
Right,
Nobody
yes.
knows about it in NYU, which is surprising. And he said, I want to do a documentary on the hero of our women's basketball team and ask her how come they're not getting the same amount of admiration, PR, and love as the men. And we were all, are you sure that's what he said? He said, yeah, because
Yeah.
if it was the men, we would have been on every billboard
Right.
in
Mhm.
everywhere. So I'm really
Yeah.
loving the way they approach it. It's not just about another game or another, win. They're really looking at the social impact and diversity impact and how it actually has implications over everything, which is really nice
Make
to
me
see
want
that
it. One of them will
generation.
do a film about me running around looking. That would be really a big comedy.
Yes,
It
it
would be a
will.
fantastic comedy.
It
Oh my
needs
Ronnie,
God.
more
Ronnie,
humor.
I have no doubt this department will grow
sure.
fast
No,
and
yeah.
big, and it's
It's
going
not
to be very
department, it's a
exciting.
crack.
I mean, the whole the platform of this
Right.
group is
Wonderful.
going to be great.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank
Good
you,
Thank
luck.
Tzili.
you
Good
so
luck.
much.
Good luck.
And see you next
Right. You are the
week.
next dean of NYU.